James Harden, he's indicated that he doesn't want to be in Philly anymore. Philly is currently looking to shop him, and obviously, one of Harden particular destinations is the Clippers. So what do you guys think about Harden wanting out again from another situation?
So to be completely fair to James Harden,
What's fair?
The Houston thing is one thing. Uh, and you feel we can all feel however we want to feel about that. Uh, I really don't hold him asking out of Brooklyn against him because that Kyrie Irving shit is just extenuating circumstances. And y'all, I wouldn't want to play with third eye Chris Paul every day. Like that shit has to get so annoying. What does government mean to you? I don't fucking know. Why can't you show up for your job on time? Anyway, um, this is different. What do I think about it? I guess we'll see where he lands. Is what I think. I think it's very interesting. James Harden seems to be somebody who, a lot like what has been reported about Kevin Durant, might not even know what quote unquote makes him happy. And happiness is kind of fleeting. And insofar as what makes him happy might change rapidly from, month to month. And so there's only so much you
That's
can do.
crazy.
But I mean he's definitely still a good enough player that he'll be in demand, even if he's not, 2018, 2019 James Harden anymore.
Yeah, I think Harden's looking for a payday. Um, and I mean, I wouldn't blame him either. I think he's looking somewhere that he can sign at least 2, 3 years with and be there, knowing that that money is guaranteed. And that's one of the reasons why I think he chose the Clippers because in a couple of years, Clippers will have that new arena. We don't know the status of Kawhi there and what PG there, and he can very well be that gate attraction to that new arena. If both of them decide to leave the Clippers, I don't, that situation, but it's completely different. But James Harden's done. Like James done to me. He's
What
done.
does done
Like
what does done mean?
Yeah.
he's very good in the role that he's with Philly. He's an amazing passer. He still can set up your offense incredible. He's obviously he's subpar best at defense, and that's being nice. And he still can give you 20. He's 20 to 22, 10 to 12 assists. He give you a couple rebounds. So I think for a team that's looking to compete for a championship and having someone basically run their offense, run the floor, but not solely have to depend on them for offense. He can give you something, but I'm solely not dependent on this guy to contribute 25, 30 points day on and day out every day. And someone that'd be a lackluster defense, that's him now. Like he still could set up your offense. He still could be he's still a very good passer. But that's his role. And I don't know how many starting caliber point guards teams that competed for a championship need that role. Like I don't know because at this particular time, I think we all know his best years are behind him than what they are in front of him, of course. But I don't know if a particular team, especially competing for a title, needs somebody like that. Like I don't know. The Clippers, like again, one of the reasons why I think he chose the Clippers because I believe he fits well there. He don't have to worry about defensive purposes really because you have PG Kawhi. He could set up. They really need a true point guard, which he can do that. So I think he fits well there. So
Underrated factor is that he's also from LA.
that's true. But I just don't think he's. I don't. Somebody say he's in demand. I don't think he's in demand. Like I don't think somebody's. I don't think they're on the phone calling for James Harden. Like I don't think that's it anymore. I think that was him 5 years ago, sure. 3 years ago, sure. But I don't think people are actively on the phone saying, "Hey, What package should we get for James Harden? Houston didn't even want him. It don't because it don't. The coach didn't even want him. The coach
I
didn't
don't
want
I
him.
don't know how true it is that
The
Houston.
coach the coach said no, no. The coach said no, no. We don't want him. Like we're gonna go with Jalen Brown. I mean, we're gonna go with Jalen Green and other.
I just don't
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
James Harden, there are a lot of teams that would be better off
Mhm.
if James Harden was a part of their roster. Like if you
Like
take
who?
like immediately, I think of the Lakers. If we took D'Angelo Russell and swapped him out for James Harden, what does that end up looking like? That's a team that would absolutely be better suited, with James Harden on the roster. Um, James Harden can absolutely contribute to, you know, uh, to winning basketball. Obviously, we've all seen, kind of the play some of the playoff issues. Um,
Mhm.
I've kind of speculated for a bit. James Harden is known to enjoy his life. And like I think all of that is awesome. I mean, but if I was in James Harden's shoes, I would probably also, I'd be out there. I get it. But I don't think it's accidental that he tends to show signs of has tended to show at various points in his career signs of fatigue towards the end of playoff runs and towards the end of seasons. Um, I think there's probably a direct link between the way he lives his life and that. I'll just kind of leave it there. Um, but all that being said, like just, James, like we're not gonna turn our nose up at somebody who's giving you 22 and 11 with elite playmaking and high level shot making ability. Just like basically every team could use that. So yeah, he's all right. He's not 2018 James Harden anymore. Well, 2018 James Harden is one of the greatest scorers probably in the history of the game of basketball. So if that's the standard he has to meet to be valuable, then like six people in the history of basketball have met that standard at some point in their career. That's not, that ain't it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with both of you to an extent. I do feel like James Harden can still help a lot of teams win at this point, even though he's not the player he used to be. But yeah, he definitely is on a decline, Danny. But even you said the fact that he can go for 20, 12, and 2 can help a lot of teams win. We
Yeah, in
have
the regular season.
I do think in a perfect fit, he could help in the playoffs. We just haven't seen it. I don't know if the Clippers is that team. I
We
think
haven't seen it for years.
yeah, I do think it would help being with the Clippers though, because he would be the third option. PG and Kawhi are going to take over a lot of the scoring responsibilities. But Danny, I want to go back to what you said about him not being in a real high demand. I do agree with that. I think there are some teams that would like him and would get better with him, but I think that it was kind of proven that he's not in real high demand with the fact that he decided to opt back into that $36 million contract for next season. I think if he would have gotten a deal that he wanted and was long term, he would have taken it this year and left that way. Instead, he decided to opt in and then ask for his way out. I do think that you're right, Danny, about the Clippers being a team that would be willing to give him a multi-year contract. Tunde, like you said, him being from LA, and he's never played there. I think that's also an attraction to it. And the fact that Steve Ballmer has never been shy about paying way over the cap. I think Steve Ballmer and the Clippers would be an organization that would be willing to sign him, even though he's not going to be probably that effective in 3 years from now. So I think the Clippers are probably that team, and that's why they've, emerged as the front runners to get him. I don't know that they're going to be able to though. I think that Philly, like I mentioned earlier with Daryl Morey and the Ben Simmons situation, I think he's going to be patient with this one as well. He's only going to do it if the trade actually makes sense for his organization going forward. I think they would be okay with parting ways with James Harden because they do believe in Tyrese Maxey. and if they can get another player to kind of fill in for Harden, then they think that they could still be a contender going forward. But they're not going to do that unless it actually makes sense. So I wanted to get your guys' take. Do you think Harden ends up with the Clippers? And if so, when does that timetable work? Is it before the regular season starts, or is it at some point during the season?
My
Well,
guess is that it would be during the season, or sorry, before the season. But the other thing I do want to, Danny, you said something about like, yeah, it helps in the regular season. Like, regular seasons matter. You don't get to the playoffs without getting through the regular season. It's, one of the things that we've seen with James Harden is, for better or for worse, he does, you know, he has not tended to miss a lot of games over the course of his career. Obviously, as he's now gotten older, we've seen, him not quite be the same level of durable. But for a team like the Clippers, who has, two stars who, for better or the worse, have had significant issues with durability, with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, that sounds like a good thing. We could have a very good player who will probably play like 70 to 75 games. That's a good thing. They would probably very much benefit from that.
um, I don't think I said that regular season didn't matter. Because I think it do. But one thing that I think we all understand is that the regular season and the playoff is not the same. And if we think it is, then to be honest, you just don't know basketball. It's not the same. So you could be an amazing regular season player. We've seen them. We've seen amazing regular season players, but we've also seen players that choke when it matters the most. The problem that I have is that we act like playoff and regular season, it goes one and the same. It's not the same. And so when I say this guy has performed great in the regular season, which he has, one of the greatest regular season players of all time, but this guy's constantly choked in the playoffs. We've seen it for a number of years, and we're still seeing it. We've seen it back in the Golden State years. We've seen it when Kevin Durant went down in that series. When although Chris Paul had injuries, whatever the case may be, and other people say that what they would have won, and what is, we don't do what is, we do what happened. And so we've seen it recently. So we've seen this guy constantly choke in the playoffs. When is that going to correlate with this guy is just not a he's just not a playoff caliber player. And he's an amazing regular season individual player. Take nothing away from him. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. But there's levels. And when I say there's levels of superstars, and Tunde give me the look of like you're going here again, there's levels of superstar. James Harden, he's not getting the love that he think he's deserving of. And I mean, big dog, that got something to do with your play. Like, come on now. Like, you going to all these clubs with little baby in Houston, and you skipping out on practice, and you ain't going to practice. You come in the training camp out of shape. You got the body suits, the fat suits. Like, come on, come to training camp in shape, and maybe you'll be making somebody roster. And you'll be a contributor to them winning the title. But for now, he's a has been. But anyways, let's move on. Chad, you got anything else to say?
Yeah, let's move on. But first, let's just get our predictions on the board. Where does Dame and James Harden, where are they on opening night?
I think Dame is with Miami. I
think
really do.
Yeah, I think Damian Lillard is in Miami. I think James Harden is still in Philly.
I think James Harden's in Philly as well. Yeah.
What about you two?
I will say that Dame is in Portland and that James Harden is in LA.